All right, another quick video here for you. I want to talk a little bit about the offensive line and kind of our quarterbacks took a lot of hits this year. And, the offensive line definitely had their part to play in some of that. When you give up well over 100 quarterback hits, your offensive line is going to have to change some things. That's just not acceptable. But on the other hand, sometimes your quarterbacks have to protect themselves. This was an example of sometimes, when things look on the stat sheets and guys have given up sacks or it says the offensive line gave up a sack. It shows one thing, but that doesn't always show the full story. This is against the Cardinals again, week 8. I think this was the game, when you look at this game and how CJ played, I understand why Shanahan decided to move on and start Mullins. Say we need to do something different because this was obviously an experiment that was not working this year. Here, Arizona's going to come out in a cover 3. They're traditionally sorry, I screwed up on my writing there. I'm trying to write with my finger. They're traditionally a man coverage team, but they're going to come out and just run cover 3. These guys are going to take deep zones, and then they're going to have 4 underneath defenders. Okay, this guy's going to drop back here. Then we're going to have this linebacker come here. They're showing a lot of heavy pressure, but they're not really going to do anything with it. They're just trying to give the look to mess with CJ, and honestly, it kind of works. What we're going to run here is what we've seen a bunch of times. I actually did another video on it, the pin concept. The pin concept, what we're going to do is we're going to run Taylor. He's going to run a post, and we have Kendrick Bourne on the bottom. He's going to run a deep in. I believe this is Mostert at the bottom. He's going to come out, and he's going to go to the flat. And then Kittle is just going to hook over the middle. And Marquise Goodwin up here, he's going to run an in. Now, when you're doing the pins, what we've talked about, your main read is on the safety. You want to read this guy, and if he's supposed to follow the post, that opens up the in route. If he jumps on the in, that opens up the post. We're hooking Kittle over the middle, hoping what we're trying to do is take this curl defender and draw him up to open up this area. So that's the primary read. The problem that with Beathard on this play is he sticks with his primary read too long. The one thing that we've talked about with Jimmy Garoppolo is that he moves through his progressions very quickly. He's able to see the information, digest it, and move along. And so I'm going to go through this play and we'll kind of talk about what CJ Beathard should have done here. So we roll this. You see Arizona backs out. They got these guys dropping into their zones. CJ, he's watching this linebacker. He's hoping that Kittle's presence is going to draw him up. It doesn't really do that. It draws the backside hook defender up, but he never really does it. And so he's watching him, hoping that this area is gonna open up. But again, when teams have seen your film and they can understand what you're trying to do to them more and more, they're going to be ready for certain things. This is 3rd and 2, and so Shanahan's trying to go for, he's trying to get a chunk play, expecting Arizona to play aggressive underneath. And so that's why you don't see him just flooding underneath zones. He's expecting them to try and cover the underneath, and so he's using Kittle, a 3rd down weapon on a short curl, hopefully to attract defenders to open up another player. But what ends up happening is Beathard at this point needs to see this guy is in the lane. He's supposed to be reading him to the safety. He's going to see, is this guy in the lane? What's the safety doing? His eyes have got to be kind of bouncing from spot to spot very quickly. That's what we talk about with quarterbacks being able to read a defense and process things very, very quickly, because this safety is selling out on the in route. So that means this is going to be open. Now, the backside linebacker is attacking the curl route. He needs to see that. He needs to see that too. A lot of times quarterbacks need to see things with their peripheral and understand that when you have a tight end here and there's color around him, that means there's other zones that are going to be open. Because he needs to see this guy's he's bailing out, the safety's playing aggressive. That means you move on in the progression. You're going to have this guy's probably not going to win. He's got a good safety, which is Antoine Bethea here, who's going to be covering the flat route. So what you do is you move to your next horizontal stretch, or where your next triangle is going to be, which is going to be in this area, which is you move from there, these guys, over to here, because you know you have an in-cutting route against a defender who's going to be playing outside over here. This is that guy's zone. So you're going to move and say, okay, he's being covered. And at that point, he should be looking over to Marquise Goodwin. You only need 2 yards. There's going to be a spot that opens up here because this defender is being occupied. Instead, he ends up actually running himself into a sack, which is kind of embarrassing here because he feels pressure and he never feels it. I mean, Joe Staley's got his guy blocked here, and he's got an open lane to roll out. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo bail out. We've seen Russell Wilson bail out. The good quarterbacks have a sense to feel that and bail out. Or Jimmy, more often than not, will hang in there and just make this throw because he doesn't get he doesn't get scared by all this different stuff here. Because if you look at it here, Marquise Goodwin is open. I mean, if that's Jimmy Garoppolo, he hits him, he turns upfield. It's a first down and then some. But this is not Jimmy Garoppolo playing quarterback for us. This is C.J. Beathard. Instead, he drops back, doesn't see anything, and runs himself into a sack. This is one of those plays. There's a play to be made here. I mean, you got Taylor is running, and the safety's beat. I don't know if I'd make that throw with Patrick Peterson on him, but he's got a first down here with Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin won on his route. The concept beat the coverage. They stretched the defense horizontally in this area. It was a good play design. The play was there to be made. The offensive line did a good enough job. I mean, right here, the ball should be coming out, and he's got a clean enough pocket. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo make a lot better throws from a lot less clean pockets than that. So this is a situation where, our offensive line is credited with a sack and a quarterback hit, but this is a situation where it's completely on the quarterback. And he just panics as the play breaks down and runs himself into a sack. That's an ugly play. So that's just another example of why Shanahan decided to go with C.J. Mullins. And we can't wait to get Jimmy Garoppolo back.